Hello all boys and girls, this is Manideep. I'm gonna give you a clarity regarding how could you kickstart your CMA final IDT preparation. What are the chapters you should be focused? What are the chapters you should give a newspaper kind of reading? So all these things I'll give clarity in this video. So please don't skip this video, or instead, even though you don't have the necessity of this video, add to your saved list or playlist, which would be definitely useful. I did lot of analysis regarding the CMA final identity paper before coming to you with this video. Okay, it's a complete video which you could rely for your CMA final identity preparation. So okay, let's start with our sources. What could be our source of preparation for CMA final? Sir, the institute, the cost accountants CMA institute has come up with the study material. Okay, we have a inclusive study material, lot of examples, problems, everything is included, but the only problem is like its voluminous. Around 1200 pages the material is there, and along with study material we should rely on the past 4 attempts. Okay, maybe 2 3 attempts related old study or old exam or old pattern related, I mean 2016 related papers are also available. Those past exam papers, mock test papers, definitely we should refer. Okay, so what happens means, by studying the study material you will get the clarity of the concepts. By looking after these past exam questions and mock test papers, you'll understand the trend of institute, areas where institute is focused. Okay, sir, you might say like, sir, where I have this much time, sir? I just now finished watching my classes, lectures around 100 120 hours, or even some other faculties means 200 hours. So how could I mean revise all those concepts, sir? There's one solution from BCCA, sir. BCCA come up with CMA final IDT color books. The concept book is around some 270 pages, sir, which covers every topic of IDT which is relevant for your exams. Every topic, every concept is covered, but it is framed in simple language and easily understandable language and color. Okay, it's available in multicolors. Next, coming to the workbook also, we compiled it with taking the institute study material questions and as well as the past exam questions. So which could you rely? Okay, so that's up to you whether you rely on it or you could go with the other materials. But I'm now going into the categorization of the chapters. Sir, one risk or one disclaimer I wanted to say: this is on my analysis of past papers and past trends. Okay, there might be a slight deviations, but you could rely. Okay, there are 99% of the chances the paper could be in this way only. Okay, now going into the topics. Sir, you all know that our topic, I mean our subject, indirect taxes, is of two parts: GST and customs. GST is for 70 marks and customs is for 30 marks. Sir, here I'm discussing it like chapter wise. In some chapters I even went and discussed like what are the concepts A and what are the concepts B and what are the concepts C. I even mentioned here weightage, but I'm not referring to the weightage now. I just focused on the chapter, the concepts which are there in A category and the concepts which are there in B and C category. Sir, if you could see here from introduction chapter, the constitutional provisions and GSTN. Sir, if you are referring study material, GSTN, there is a separate chapter which consists of vision of GSTN, mission of GSTN, advantages of GSTN, the objective of GSTN. So those concepts along with the constitutional provisions will come under category A. We could definitely expect a 4 marks question at least from this topic. So that's why I referred as category A. So the again I'm referring the GSTN concepts. If you are referring to CA materials, any CA materials, these are not there. Only vision of GSTN, mission of GSTN, advantages of GSTN, these are not there in CA institute questions. So observe this point and use CMA materials for this concept GSTN. Study material, the last chapter from GST, sir. Next, other provisions such as like advantage of GST, how GST has came, need for GST, all these will come under the C category only, sir. Not much required at the final level. Next, coming to the supply chapter. Scope of supply, composite supply and mixed supply. I mean section 7 and section 8. These are very important from final perspective also, sir. 4 to 6 marks. Even in the last attempts also, there is a question from composite supply and mixed supply, and there is a question regarding the distinct persons and related persons. So in supply chapter, the definitions part is important. 7 and 8 are important. Only the topics which will fall under the C category are like clarifications. Sir, there might be a question for you, sir, whether schedule 1, schedule 2, schedule 3 will fall under A. Yes, including schedule 1, schedule 2, schedule 3, section 7 and 8 and definitions will fall under A category. Whereas the clarification, there are n number of clarifications, are around 30 clarifications are in supply. They will alone fall under the C category chapter. The recent amendments, the recent clarifications, you have an eye on them, but the past clarifications, you need not to focus much on them. Next, charge. Coming to charge chapter, sir, this is not a chapter where institute coming up frequently asking questions from this chapter. Here and there are very rare they are asking questions. Even in from composition scheme also, in old syllabus there used to be a question, but new syllabus they are not much focused on composition scheme. That's why I given this chapter under the B category. And next, exemptions. Exemptions, sir, the whole chapter is under B category. Why, sir? Does institute is not asking a question? No, institute is coming up with a question every attempt, sir. Every attempt institute is coming up with a question from exemptions chapter, but still the chapter is lengthy. It requires a lot of memory power. You need to revise it n number of times. Still after that also you might have this doubt about whether this exemption is covered or not. So that question, so from the student perspective, I am giving this chapter, sir, as B. Otherwise, examiner point of view or from the institute point of view, there is definitely a question from this. Okay, so you should already you have little bit knowledge about this chapter in inter level itself, and you are comfortable this chapter, then this chapter also you can keep it as A category only. Next, time of supply, value of supply, sir, and ITC. These 3 chapters together, sir, I personally say each and every line of this chapter is important. All these 3 chapters we could expect a problematic questions only. These chapters are very, very important, sir. From value of supply compared to inter level, here there are rules 27 to till 35 there are rules, and even in ITC also in inter level only 16 and subsection 17 subsection 5 are focused this part, but that is also very important here. Reversal of credits, ISD. So these chapters, sir, time of supply, value of supply, ITC. Even in ITC I given like these topics as B category. So the A category chapters which are marked from time of supply, value of supply and the concepts from ITC, you should revise at least 5 times before exam, sir. You have no luxury of doing mistake from these chapters, sir. Okay, so please mark my words, these chapters you should prepare thoroughly. You could see the weightage also here. From these A categories alone you are having around 15 marks, sir. A++ category chapters these are. And now coming to, sorry, from ITC itself, reversal of credits. There will be the format kind of how when you are making both exempted and taxable supplies, how the credit has to be reversed. With respect to capital goods, how the credit has to be reversed. If you shifted from tax paying to non-tax paying or non-tax paying to tax paying, how the credit has to be availed or how the credit has to be reversed. These concepts are, yes, the institute is asking a question from these topics also, but not as focused as like 16 and 17 subsection. But they are very important. Only after having thorough knowledge about that, you should do this. Okay. Next, registration and invoice chapter, sir. These are not there in the new study materials. If again, I'm repeating, if you are relying on CA study materials or CA related materials, then these chapters will be there in CA level, sir, but not in CMA final level. So it's unnecessary to prepare these chapters. But even me taking class of registration chapter in my regular classes. Why? Just to give them an overview, because here and there topics are connected. That's why. Okay. So you could rely, we cannot expect a direct question from registration chapter, but there are interlinkages from this chapter. So that's why you should have knowledge. So give a newspaper reading. Don't go or don't put much efforts from registration and invoice chapter. Next, sir, payment of taxes chapter, sir. Payment of taxes chapter also, there are 2 parts, sir. The one is about credit ledger, cash ledger, liability ledger, that one. That one, there are no questions being asked from institute, sir. Not frequently at least. But from TDS and TCS, we could definitely expect a question, sir. The trend, if you see, they are every attempt they are asking 4 to 5 marks question. Very simple concepts, sir, TDS and TCS. So don't miss those concepts. These are very important. Next, coming to the returns, sir. 1, GSTR 1, 2, 3B, GSTR 9, first return. These concepts are A category, whereas the other returns will come under the C category. Next, accounts and records. Accounts and records are pure theoretical chapter, like what a manufacturer has to maintain books of accounts, what a payroll person has to maintain, what regularly the books of accounts has to be maintained, how much period they have to be maintained. These are like the theoretical procedural kind of only, not much important, C category only. But the e-way bill part is there, sir, very important. Again, the institute consistently asking a question from e-way bill, sir. Very easy topic again. E-way bill is again A, not A plus category chapter again. Import and export, sir. Import and export procedures, sir. Majority of these concepts, if from my regular classes or is from my regular classes or from my EVO classes, if you're following, these import and export chapters in parts, bits and parts, we might have covered in the second chapter, supply chapter, chart chapter. There itself we might have covered in bits and pieces, or even in place of supply chapter. So here we need not to stress this chapter once again, and even the weightage is also not like, it's not a direct question or it's not a regular question from the institute. So that's why I marked it as C. Refunds chapter, sir. So majority of students feel like refunds chapter is something very heavy in content, which is tricky in content. But sir, listen to me. There are time limits, sir, by when you should make a refund claim. That time limits, one table will be there, one page. That is important. And there are two formulas, sir, for calculating refund. When there is zero rated supplies, when there is inverted duty structure, how to calculate refund, there are two formulas. Those two formulas, this table, and if at all required, provisional refund, one case is there. These four topics alone you should stress. Other topics, even if you leave also, no problem, but these areas you should focus. These are again A category. If at all institute has a question, that is from that areas only. I mean, sir, it's not like I'm giving it as like a straightforward sentence I end up, but as per the trend, I could say this to you, 4 to 6 marks. Next, job works, sir, section 19 and section 143. These job works are the content wise very easy, sir. Okay, even I'll cover this in my marathon videos also. Job work hardly will discuss from 20 to 25 minutes, sir. Even regular class also will discuss from around 1 hour to 1 hour 45 minutes, sir. So these chapters are very simple. Content wise also we could sum up this in 2 pages, sir. But 2 to 4 marks is there. That's why it is important. Next, assessment chapter, sir. Assessment is also easy chapter, sir. Generally, the problem at CMA final level for students is like, they are okay with the content which already they discussed in inter level. But whenever we come to the advanced topic, student lacks the interest in learning these chapters. But these are very interesting, sir. Very interesting chapters and easy to learn also. And as per my experience, I could say you could score more marks in the advanced topics only than that of compared to the regular topics. Understand one thing, everybody writes the supply chapter question, everybody writes the time of supply, value of supply question, but only few people write assessment related questions, refunds related questions, demand recovery related questions. Focus on those areas, so you will get more marks in IDT. Okay, assessment, the whole chapter is A category, sir. Very simple, 4 pages only, hardly. Demand and recovery, sir, very simplified, sir. Okay, sir. Even in our CMA institute also, again, assessment, demand recovery, appeals and revision, sir. Again, I wanted to make this point. If you are referring CA final study materials, these chapters would be comparatively lengthy in CA final level, sir. But at CMA level, our institute didn't focus much. I mean, not every line covered on our study materials. Only few topics are taken for our syllabus, sir. So that's why assessment, demand recovery, appeals and revision. Follow our institute study material, no problem. Okay, follow our institute study material, do those sums alone, they are fine. Assessment, demand and recovery, appeals and revision, these 3 chapters, sir. In the appeals and revision, sir, especially there will be pre-deposits. When you go to appellate authority, when you go to appellate authorities, so what should be the pre-deposits to be made? That concept is there, sir. It is A category, sir. When you go to appellate authority or when you go to tribunal, what is the pre-deposits? That is important. Next, coming to advanced ruling, sir, whole chapter. Sir, institute is asking, like, not frequently they are asking question from this chapter, but still it will come to 1.5 page, sir, the content. Okay, if you summarize, that will come to 1.5 page, sir. So why to take chance? That's why I'm keeping it as B category. Whenever they ask a question, hardly 3-4 questions. For 10 minutes we could revise. That's why I kept here. Offenses and penalties, inspection and such seizures, sir. These two chapters. One thing about offenses and penalties, sir, there are lot many offenses and penalties, sir. It's not so easy to remember all those penalties and all. That's why I kept it in the C category. But institutes are they're coming up with a question from offenses, okay? But still, from student perspective, they feel little tough to remember all those penalties. Even though they study, again in the exam hall, they'll have this confusion of what whether it is correct or not. So that's why I kept in the C category. Inspection such either okay, not frequently they're asking question. That's why C category. But again, sir, anti-profiteering and transitional provisions. These are two separate chapters, sir, in our study material, but I clubbed into a single chapter. Anti-profiteering, yes, we could categorize as C because there are not asking a question frequently, but from transitional provisions, sir. Okay, why we don't know? This is again contrary to the CA exams. CA they don't focus much on transitional provisions, but at CMA final level they focus on transitional provisions on and especially on those sums. Okay, so that's why this is kept as A category, sir. Next, coming to our customs, sir. The first chapter, introduction and types of duties. Understand, this is not there in our CMA final syllabus. This is already covered in inter level. So this chapter is not there in the final level. So we couldn't expect a question from the basics, the terminologies and all. The only points which are important from in types of duties are like how the taxes would be levied, on what value BCD has to be levied, on what value IGST has to be levied, how safeguard duty has to be levied. But we couldn't expect a question on safeguard duty, anti-dumping duty, those areas. But they are relevant on finding out the value on which duties has to be levied. Next one, sir, classification chapter. Classification also one of the easy chapter, like how the groups are, how the goods are categorized or grouped. That is called as classification, sir. B category only. There are no much sums also, even in the trend also, past trend also, they are not asking much questions. So that's why I kept it as B. One important chapter, sir, valuation chapter. Valuation, definitely there will be a sum. The standard sums up on import. A guy will be there, he'll be importing some goods, he might incur some cost. So what should be the customs value, or what should be the accessible value under customs? There are around 8 to 10 sums, sir, in institute material also. Practice each and every sum. One sum is going to be picked directly. Okay, so practice them. Valuation, especially import rules. Next to baggage, sir. Again, baggage is one chapter I can say strongly. The question is going to be definitely from our institute sources only. So practice each and every institute question. Definitely they are going to ask a question from baggage. Next, duty drawbacks, sir. So duty drawback, there are two areas, there are hardly two types of duty drawbacks are there. The first one would be easy, like the percentage basis you will be calculating. That is easy. There are problems, practice them. The second one is like about all industry duty drawback rate, brand rate, special brand rate. Sir, focus on those problems alone, sir. There will be a lot of theories are there. How all industry duty drawback rate would be calculated, what details has to be provided, how brand rate will be calculated. Just know what is called all industry duty drawback rate, brand rate, special brand rate, these things and terms. Okay, and there is a concept of their provisional refund kind of concept and interest concept. Those alone are important. Don't focus on every line from duty drawbacks. Next, coming to warehousing, sir. Warehousing, not regularly they are asking a question, especially in the new course of study material. The warehousing chapter has been condensed a lot. Only warehousing, I mean, the manufacturing with a bond within the warehouse, how could we manufacture, those procedures alone are there. That part alone comes to just 2 pages. Even if you open study material also, there'll be, you'll see like number of pages like around 10 to 12. But if you see, look at the content, it will come only 2 pages. Warehousing, it is B category. And refunds and other miscellaneous also will fall under C category, sir. But there is one more chapter, sir, trade facilitation. 1.5 page from institute source also. This trade facilitation, we could expect a question. There are 18 points, sir. I mean, like 18 paras, the whole chapter could be divided. 18 4-5 lines paras. Out of this, any para could be picked and asked as a question. So that's why this is also important. B category, but still you should focus, sir. FTP, sir. Sir, in FTP, I highlighted few schemes, sir. Regularly institute is asking these questions. Advance authorization, okay, RODTEP scheme, remission of duties, taxes, status holder, EPCG, and if any extra means deemed export. These 5 topics are regularly institute is asking a question, at least one 7 marks question from these 5 topics, sir. Every attempt, you could go to past 5 attempts and check. Every attempt they are asking a 7 marks question from these 5 concepts. So that's why this is A category. The rest FTP is B category. Sir, many students will not focus on FTP, but focus on FTP, sir. Okay, revise it some 3-4 times. You'll able to write. Whenever the paper is little tough, you could come and choose FTP and you could score good marks. Okay, so plan this strategy, sir. I personally made this analysis and suggesting you. Okay, so one more thing, sir. If at all you need BCCA regular classes, from BCCA point of view, there are regular classes, sir, which will come around 120 to 130 hours. And even there are exam oriented batch, which we take the concepts, not full coverage of syllabus, sir. Around some 85 to 90% of the syllabus will be covered in EO exam oriented batch, but it would be in 35 to 40 hours only, sir. 35 to 40 hours, whereas the regular batch is in 120 to 130 hours. But one good and bad things here. One good thing is like currently the mixed language lectures of exam oriented and regular classes are available, mixed Telugu and English. But the pure or the complete English lectures would be available only from June 20th, sir. So I'm sorry for the English students, but at least I could help you with this preparation strategy for this attempt, and I'll come up with the marathon, sir, which is completely in English only for this attempt. So that I could even help the other non-Telugu students also for this attempt. Hope I could give you some light on your preparation way or in your way to prepare or to achieve your goal. I thrown some light. Please feel free to comment on this video if you have any further doubts. I'll try to cover up those doubts or issues in the coming videos. Thank you all. Subscribe to BCCA.